He walked into the forbidden zone. The princess followed him boldly. The tall silver spires of the palace gleamed, reflecting light that danced across the smooth streets below. Birds of unusual shapes flitted between towers, their songs mixing with the hum of machinery. But beyond the city, past the walls that humans had built with great care, lay the forbidden zone. It was a place no one dared to enter. No guards, no machines, no laws could keep curiosity at bay for long, especially for humans. Captain Ryland stood at the edge of the city's border, his boots crunching softly on the dusty path. He looked at the dark green mass of trees and shimmering energy fields that marked the beginning of the forbidden zone. Rumors said it was alive, that it could feel intruders and decide their fate. Ryland's eyes, bright and steady, reflected both caution and determination. Many had warned him, saying that the zone had swallowed explorers whole, that no one had ever returned with complete memory of what they saw. Yet Ryland could not turn back. He adjusted the strap of his pack, feeling the small, precise weight of his tools. Maps, scanners, and instruments that might help him survive in unknown territory, all carried carefully in case he needed them. Ryland had studied the zone for years. He knew its borders, its patterns, and more importantly, its mysteries. But studying it was not enough. To truly understand the forbidden zone, one had to enter it, and Ryland was ready. As he stepped forward, the air seemed to hum. The energy lines that flickered at the edges of the zone pulsed gently, as if noticing his presence. The wind smelled different here, carrying hints of metal and something sweet, almost like flowers but sharper. Ryland took a deep breath, feeling his pulse quicken. Every fiber of his being told him he was entering the unknown, and he loved it. From the palace balcony above, Princess Kayla watched him. Her eyes, sharp and curious, never left his figure as he walked steadily toward the zone. She had been told to stay inside, to be careful, to respect the rules that protected her. But Kayla had always been different. She admired bravery, and humans, particularly Ryland, embodied it. She had watched him plan, prepare, and finally step into what others called impossible danger. Without a second thought, she climbed down the spiral stairs, careful not to alert the palace guards. Kayla moved quickly and silently, her feet making almost no sound on the polished stone paths. She carried only what she needed: light tools, a small energy shield, and her courage. Many would have considered her reckless, but Kayla saw something more. She saw the strength of a human willing to face the unknown. She would follow him. The first steps inside the zone felt different. The air was thicker, warmer, and yet tinged with a cool energy that seemed to vibrate through the ground. Trees were taller than any in the city, with leaves that shimmered like crystal. Small creatures peeked from the shadows, their eyes glowing softly, studying the humans with curiosity rather than fear. The ground itself seemed to pulse, shifting slightly under their weight, almost like the zone was alive. Ryland paused, scanning the environment with a handheld device that emitted soft blue light. The readings were unusual. Energy levels here were higher than expected, fluctuating unpredictably. Magnetic fields twisted around invisible lines, and the soil seemed to hum with low vibrations. He made a note of every detail, careful to observe rather than disturb. Kayla stepped forward quietly, close enough to see Ryland's notes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Her voice carried no fear, only awe. She had seen wonders before, but nothing like this. The zone was not just dangerous, it was mesmerizing. Ryland nodded without looking up. "Beautiful, yes, but it's also unpredictable. One wrong step could mean we get trapped, or worse." His voice was calm, but his eyes were alert. He had learned that danger was not always visible. Sometimes it came in the form of silence, waiting for the unprepared. The two humans walked carefully, their steps leaving faint impressions on the glowing soil. Small plants reacted to their presence, shifting slightly as if bowing or recoiling. A low hum, almost like music, began to rise from the ground. Neither Ryland nor Kayla knew if it was alive or some natural phenomenon. Both, however, felt a thrill they could not explain. Humans thrived on challenge, on exploration, on facing what others avoided. Hours passed, yet it felt like minutes. They discovered glowing streams that ran uphill, trees that seemed to breathe slowly, and rocks that rearranged themselves slightly when touched. Kayla's curiosity grew with every step. She examined the strange flora, sketching them in her small notebook, noting the patterns in the energy lines that ran like veins across the ground. Ryland observed the patterns as well, making mental calculations about the zone's structure and behavior. At one point, a narrow canyon appeared, its walls carved smoothly as if by some enormous hand. The hum of energy intensified here, vibrating through the canyon walls. Rylan stepped forward, testing the ground with a small probe. It reacted, changing color, glowing brighter. He frowned. "It's like it's alive," he said softly. "It responds to us." Kayla's eyes widened. "Alive, but how? It's not like a person or animal." Rylan shook his head. "Not alive in the way we understand life, but something intelligent maybe. We have to be careful." He moved forward cautiously, and Kayla followed, trusting his lead but not hesitating when she saw an opportunity to explore. Humans were unique in their combination of caution and courage. Most creatures would freeze at the unknown, but humans stepped forward. Suddenly, a wall of light appeared ahead of them, pulsing with energy that seemed to respond to their presence. Rylan raised his hand, and the light dimmed slightly. He examined it, realizing it was some kind of barrier but not solid. The zone was testing them. Kayla looked at him, excitement shining in her eyes. "It wants us to enter," she said. "We can do it." Rylan nodded, a small smile forming. "Yes. But we must do it together." They stepped through the light, and it rippled around them like water, leaving a tingling sensation on their skin. On the other side, the landscape changed again. The trees here were taller, their leaves shining like mirrors. Strange animals, transparent and glowing faintly, watched them pass. They came to a clearing, and in the center was a stone structure, ancient and covered in energy patterns. Rylan and Kayla approached it carefully. The symbols on the stones shifted slightly, almost like the zone was showing them something. They could feel intelligence in the design, a message waiting to be understood. Kayla reached out to touch the stone, and the symbols reacted to her fingers, glowing more intensely. She pulled back, eyes wide. It recognizes us," she whispered. Rylan nodded. Humans had always had a unique ability to interact with unknown systems, not through brute strength, but through understanding, intuition, and observation. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows across the clearing. They had been inside the zone for hours, yet it felt like a lifetime had passed. Both knew they could not turn back, not yet. Something deeper, something incredible, waited for those who dared to continue. As night began to fall, the zone itself seemed to change. Stars above shimmered differently, brighter, closer. The trees' glow intensified, and a gentle hum filled the air. Rylan and Kayla set up a small camp, careful not to disturb the energy around them. They shared a simple meal, but conversation flowed easily. "You know," Kayla said quietly, "I used to think humans were reckless, but watching you, it's not recklessness, it's courage, and something else, curiosity. The way you face the unknown without fear of failure, it's inspiring." Rylan smiled, looking at her. "Curiosity is dangerous, yes, but it's what makes us human. We see mysteries, and we cannot help but step toward them." The night deepened, and the hum of the zone became almost melodic. Both humans drifted into a cautious sleep, knowing the zone would test them further at dawn. Dreams were filled with shapes that shifted and shimmered, whispers of energy that spoke without words. They felt both awe and excitement, a sense of destiny that could only belong to those who dared to enter the unknown. Morning came, and the zone revealed new paths, twisting and winding in ways that no map could predict. Rylan and Kayla rose, ready to explore further, bound together by curiosity and courage. They had taken the first step into a world that would challenge everything they knew, and yet they felt alive, more alive than ever. The Forbidden Zone was no longer just a rumor. It was real, it was alive, and it had noticed them. As they stepped forward, the trees parted slightly, almost like a hallway had formed just for them. Energy rippled beneath their feet, and a soft glow lit the way. Rylan looked at Kayla. "Whatever is ahead, we face it together." Kayla nodded. "Always, and maybe, just maybe, humans can teach this place a little about courage." And with that, they walked deeper into the Forbidden Zone, leaving the known world behind, stepping fully into a place where danger and wonder were inseparable, and where humans alone had the bravery to discover what lay hidden. The Forbidden Zone seemed to shift around Rylan and Kayla as they walked deeper. Paths that looked solid one moment appeared to bend or dissolve the next. The air was thick with energy, carrying scents that were both sweet and metallic, strange yet strangely comforting. Birds with translucent wings fluttered overhead, their delicate forms glowing faintly in the light that streamed through the treetops. The humans moved cautiously, but with a sense of excitement. Each step into the unknown brought new wonders and subtle dangers, yet neither hesitated. Rylan stopped suddenly, scanning the path ahead with his handheld device. The readings spiked unpredictably, and the energy lines in the soil pulsed faster. He knelt and touched the ground gently, noting the slight vibration under his fingers. "The zone isn't just alive," he said quietly, almost to himself. "It's aware, it can sense us, it might even be studying us." Kayla crouched beside him, her bright eyes studying the patterns in the glowing soil. "Studying us like we're subjects?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but there was curiosity hidden in it. "Do you think it understands humans?" Rylan considered this for a moment. "Maybe. But not like we understand it. It probably judges everything by its own rules. We need to keep observing, keep moving carefully." He stood and extended a hand to her. "Come on, there's more to see." They continued along a narrow path that wound between towering crystal trees. The trunks shimmered with light that seemed to flow like water, and small flowers at their bases glowed faintly, reacting to their presence. Kayla reached out, brushing her fingers across one of the blooms. It pulsed softly under her touch, as if acknowledging her. She smiled. "It's beautiful, alive in a way that feels gentle, not dangerous." Rylan nodded, taking note. "Yes, but beauty doesn't mean safe. We must stay alert. The zone changes constantly. What is harmless now might not be in a moment." He led the way, adjusting his steps to avoid areas where the soil vibrated most strongly. The path soon opened into a wide clearing. In the center stood a structure made of the same crystal-like material as the trees, but shaped with sharp angles and smooth curves that defied normal geometry. Light flowed along the surfaces, forming patterns that seemed to shift as they watched. Kayla gasped softly. "It's amazing. Who built this?" Rylan studied the structure carefully. "I don't know, some ancient civilization perhaps, or the zone itself. It adapts, builds, tests. Look at the patterns, they respond to our movements." He took a step closer, noting how the symbols on the structure shifted when he approached. "See, it's alive in every sense." Kayla moved closer as well, studying the symbols. "It feels like it's trying to communicate." "But how do we understand it?" Rylan smiled faintly. "We observe, we test, and we respond carefully. That's what humans do. We learn by paying attention and being brave enough to try." As they circled the structure, a low hum began to rise from the ground, almost musical in tone. The light patterns on the structure pulsed in rhythm with the hum, and the air shimmered. Kayla took a step closer, and the hum intensified. She lifted her hand, and the light seemed to wrap around her fingers, warm and welcoming. She laughed softly, a sound of pure delight. "It likes me, or maybe it's curious about me like we are about it." Rylan watched carefully. "It's not liking or disliking, it's interacting. That's what makes it different from anything we've ever seen. Be careful, Kayla. Even curiosity can be dangerous if we push too far." Kayla nodded, but her excitement was clear. Humans were unique in their ability to embrace danger with intelligence. While other creatures might avoid a moving, glowing structure, humans studied it, learned from it, and adapted. She stepped closer to Rylan. "We can understand it, can't we? If we're careful, we can learn its secrets." The zone seemed to respond. A narrow corridor of light appeared, stretching from the structure deeper into the trees. The glow pulsed softly, almost inviting them forward. Rylan glanced at Kayla. "It's showing us a path. Whether that's an invitation or a test, I don't know, but we have to find out." They stepped into the corridor together, their feet barely making sound on the glowing ground. The light walls curved around them, bending in ways that made it hard to tell where one surface ended and another began. Kayla reached out, brushing her fingers along the walls. The light shifted under her touch, forming patterns she could almost recognize. "It's like it's teaching us," she whispered. Rylan nodded. "Or testing us. Either way, we need to pay attention." They moved deeper, and the air grew warmer, more alive. Strange creatures watched them from the shadows, small, delicate forms that seemed to float rather than walk. They made no sound, only observing with soft, glowing eyes. Kayla smiled at one, and it blinked slowly, almost acknowledging her presence. Hours passed as they moved through the corridor. The landscape changed constantly, shifting in ways that made maps useless. Bridges of light spanned empty spaces, streams flowed uphill, and trees leaned toward them as if guiding their path. The zone challenged them, but Rylan and Kayla worked together, combining caution and creativity. When one obstacle seemed impossible, the other found a solution. Humans thrived on challenges, and the zone was full of them. Eventually, they arrived at another clearing. This one was wider, with a small pond in the center. The water was perfectly still, reflecting the strange sky above. As they approached, ripples formed across the surface, not from wind or movement, but seemingly in response to their thoughts. Kayla stepped closer, fascinated. It knows we're here. It's aware of us in ways we can't even measure. Rylan studied the pond, his device scanning the energy fields. Yes, it's conscious, but not like us. Its intelligence is different, more connected to the environment, more flexible. That's why it responds to humans. Other species wouldn't have the adaptability we do. We think, we feel, and we act in ways it can understand. Kayla nodded, sitting by the pond. We're lucky to be here. I never thought I'd see something like this, something that challenges even humans. They rested briefly, drinking water from small flasks and sharing a light meal. But even as they ate, the zone seemed to react. Small lights floated above the pond, forming patterns that shifted with their conversation. Kayla laughed softly. It's playful. Like it wants us to enjoy this, not just survive. Rylan smiled. Perhaps, but we must remember we're guests here, and the zone decides the rules. He paused, thinking carefully. We've learned that humans are unique. Our curiosity, courage, and ability to adapt make us special. That's why we're not just surviving here, we're interacting with it in a way no other species has. Kayla looked at him, admiration shining in her eyes. And that's why I followed you. I wanted to see what humans could do, how we could face the unknown together. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the clearing. The pond reflected colors that shifted from blue to gold to pink, as if the sky itself were alive. Rylan and Kayla prepared for the night, setting up a small, careful camp near the pond. The zone seemed to accept them, letting them rest while maintaining its subtle energy around them. As night fell, the creatures of the zone became more active. Small lights floated through the trees, moving like gentle fireflies. Strange sounds, melodic and soft, echoed from a distance. Rylan and Kayla listened, feeling both awe and respect. Humans had faced dangers before, but nothing like this. Here, courage and intelligence were their greatest tools. Kayla lay back on a soft patch of glowing moss, staring at the strange stars above. Do you think it will let us go deeper tomorrow? She asked softly. Rylan considered. It will test us, certainly. The zone doesn't give access lightly, but humans have an advantage. We think, we adapt, and we take risks others avoid. That's why we can go further than anyone else. Kayla smiled. I like being human. Right now it feels powerful, not in a dangerous way, but in a way that makes me feel alive. Rylan nodded. That's exactly how the zone sees it. Our courage and curiosity are what make us different. It's testing us, yes, but it's also learning from us. And we learn from it. The night deepened, and the glow from the moss and trees cast soft shadows across their small camp. They fell asleep, minds filled with the shapes and whispers of the zone. Dreams were strange and beautiful, floating bridges, glowing creatures, and shifting lights. They felt both wonder and anticipation, knowing that tomorrow would bring new challenges, new discoveries, and deeper mysteries. When the first light of morning touched the clearing, the zone had changed once more. Paths that had seemed blocked the day before now opened naturally. The trees leaned differently, almost like welcoming gestures. Rylan and Kayla rose, hearts filled with anticipation. The zone was alive, aware, and waiting for them to continue. Hand in hand, they stepped forward into the new day. Each moment was a lesson, each discovery a reminder that humans were unique. The zone challenged them, yes, but it also rewarded their courage, their curiosity, and their teamwork. And as they walked, the sense of adventure filled them completely. They did not know what lay ahead. There were tests, puzzles, and creatures yet unseen, but they were ready. Humans had always been explorers, facing the unknown with bravery and intelligence. And in the heart of the Forbidden Zone, that human spirit would shine brighter than ever before. The morning light filtered through the crystal trees, casting fractured rainbows across the glowing path. Rylan and Kayla moved carefully, their steps cautious but steady. The zone seemed calmer than the day before, as if it had been watching them in silence overnight. Birds with translucent wings flitted above, their gentle hums echoing like music, and strange plants shifted subtly, creating a living mosaic beneath their feet. The air carried the sweet, metallic scent of the zone, which made each breath feel vibrant and alive. Rylan glanced at Kayla as they walked. Today will be different, he said quietly. We are getting closer to the center. I can feel it. The energy patterns are stronger, more organized. Kayla nodded, her eyes wide with curiosity. Do you think the zone is intelligent? Rylan paused to observe a tree whose branches curved downward, forming a perfect archway. Energy flowed along the bark like liquid silver. Yes. I think it's not just alive, it's conscious. It can sense us, respond to us, and maybe even judge us. He motioned for her to follow him through the archway, and if we keep moving carefully, it might let us learn from it. As they passed through the arch, the landscape changed dramatically. The forest thinned into a wide, open valley. Crystal pillars of varying heights rose from the ground, glowing softly. Between the pillars floated platforms of solid light, forming a labyrinth of paths suspended in midair. The zone pulsed gently, as if inviting the humans to step forward. Kayla's eyes sparkled with wonder. It's perfect! I've never seen anything like this. Rylan scanned the platforms carefully. We need to pay attention. The zone may reward bravery, but it tests intelligence too. One wrong move could leave us stuck or worse. Kayla stepped forward first, testing the first light platform. It held firm and a gentle pulse ran up through her feet. The platform adjusted slightly, responding to her weight. It's alive, she whispered. It's responding to us again. Rylan smiled faintly. Exactly, it's teaching us. Observing how we act and adjusting to test our judgment. He stepped onto the next platform, and together they moved across the valley. Every step required careful attention. The light beneath them shifted in brightness and color, responding to their movements and balance. As they reached the center of the valley, a massive crystal structure emerged from the ground. Unlike the previous structures, this one radiated a soft golden glow. Energy flowed across its surface in intricate patterns, forming shapes that seemed almost familiar. The humans felt a strange warmth as they approached, a sense of welcome intertwined with a challenge. Kayla took a deep breath. It's beautiful, like it's alive in a way we can almost understand. Rylan studied the energy patterns, noticing their subtle rhythms. It's communicating, he said. Not with words, but with signals. It's asking us to interact to show it who we are. Kayla reached out and placed her hand gently on the structure. The glow intensified under her touch, and the energy seemed to flow into her fingertips. She gasped softly. It's sharing something with me. I can feel it thinking, learning, waiting. Rylan nodded, placing his own hand beside hers. Energy flowed through both of them, a gentle current that seemed to link their minds in a way words could not describe. The zone was alive and now somehow aware of them in a new way. Suddenly images flashed in their minds, scenes of forests and skies, rivers and oceans, creatures moving in patterns they had never seen before. These images were not random, they carried meaning. Kayla understood intuitively. The zone was showing them its history, its memory, and perhaps even its purpose. It's ancient, she whispered. This place existed long before anyone built cities, long before humans even traveled the stars, and it remembers everything. Rylan's brow furrowed. It's teaching us, but it's also testing us. Look at the patterns. If we misinterpret them, we might lose the connection. Kayla concentrated, trying to understand the flow of energy. She felt warmth, curiosity, and intelligence radiating from the zone. It was not hostile, but it was demanding. They had to think, feel, and act in harmony. Humans, with their unique combination of reasoning, empathy, and courage, were capable of responding in ways the zone recognized as worthy. For hours, they interacted with the structure, moving their hands in subtle patterns, adjusting their weight, and stepping carefully across light bridges that appeared only when they understood the zone's rhythm. Each success brought a sense of achievement, a quiet joy that made them feel alive in a way the outside world never could. Kayla glanced at Rylan. Do you think any other species could do this? Rylan shook his head. No. The zone responds to adaptability, courage, and curiosity together. Many species are strong, intelligent, or cautious, but humans combine all three. That's why we're here. That's why we're advancing further than anyone else has. Kayla smiled, a flush of pride warming her cheeks. Humans were small in the universe, yes, but their spirit, their ingenuity, and their courage made them remarkable. The zone recognized that, even if silently. As they continued, the energy in the valley intensified. The crystal structure pulsed like a heartbeat, and the light platforms beneath their feet shifted rapidly, testing their balance and decision-making. One wrong step could have sent them falling into the empty space below. Kayla laughed softly, exhilarated. This is incredible. It's like the zone wants to play and teach at the same time. Ryland's expression was focused, calm, but alert. It's testing every aspect of us, our bravery, yes, but also our cooperation. Notice how the platforms react when we move together. Humans are exceptional at teamwork, and the zone is learning that. It trusts us to move as one. Hours passed in this strange, glowing valley, and yet the humans did not feel tired. Curiosity, courage, and wonder fueled them, and the zone seemed to respond with subtle encouragement. At one point, a platform shifted unexpectedly, forming a bridge to a massive crystal door at the far end of the valley. Patterns of light on the door pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. Kayla approached it carefully. "This must be the heart of the zone," she whispered. "The energy is stronger here, almost alive in a way I can feel inside me." Ryland studied the door. "Yes. And whatever lies behind it will test us like nothing else has. The zone doesn't just reveal its secrets easily. We must be ready." They stepped forward together, placing their hands on the glowing surface. The door reacted immediately, the light flowing into their palms. Images flashed in their minds again, this time more vivid. They saw forests bending and shifting, rivers that changed direction, and skies that rippled with energy. The zone was showing them not just its history, but its consciousness, its awareness of the world around it. Kayla gasped softly. "It's alive, truly alive, not like an animal, not like a person, something greater, something vast." Ryland nodded. "And it knows we're humans. It's testing how we respond to the unknown, our courage, our intelligence, our compassion. That's why it trusts us." A sudden pulse of energy surrounded them, lifting them slightly off the ground. The zone's consciousness was fully aware now, interacting directly with their minds. They could sense its curiosity, its intelligence, and its vast memory. It presented them with choices, not threats, not commands, but options that revealed their character. Kayla felt a rush of understanding. "It wants us to choose carefully. Our decisions matter to it." Ryland's gaze was steady. "And that's why humans are exceptional. Other species might panic or act out of fear. But humans, we think, we analyze, and we act with purpose. The zone is testing not just skill, but character." They spent hours within the heart of the zone, responding to challenges, interpreting visions, and moving in harmony with the flowing energy. It was exhausting, yet exhilarating. Every action required thought, empathy, and courage. Every success brought a deeper connection, a sense of mutual understanding between humans and the zone. Finally, as the sun dipped toward the horizon, the crystal door pulsed once more and opened fully, revealing a glowing path that led to the next stage of the zone. Energy flowed freely around them, warm and gentle, acknowledging their success. The zone recognized their bravery and intelligence. Kayla smiled at Ryland, awe shining in her eyes. "We did it. We've earned its trust, haven't we?" Ryland nodded, a faint smile on his lips. "Yes. But this is just the beginning. The zone will continue to test us, and the choices ahead are important. What we do here matters, not just for us, but for everyone who comes after." Kayla's eyes glowed with determination. "Then let's face it together. Whatever comes next, we do it as humans, curious, brave, and united." The zone seemed to respond to their words, a gentle pulse of light radiating through the valley, as if acknowledging the human spirit that had impressed it so profoundly. Ryland and Kayla stood side by side, ready to continue deeper, aware that every step forward was a lesson, a challenge, and a discovery all at once. And as night fell, the crystal pillars and floating platforms shimmered in a soft glow, guiding them toward the next stage of the zone. Their journey had changed. They were no longer just explorers. They were recognized participants in something vast, alive, and intelligent. The zone had shown them that courage, intelligence, and compassion could open doors that no one else could. Together, they stepped forward into the unknown, hearts steady, minds sharp, and spirits full of the unshakable pride and bravery that made humans exceptional. The forbidden zone waited, alive and aware, ready to reveal even deeper mysteries to those bold enough to walk its paths. The light of the new day filtered through the crystal trees, casting a soft golden glow across the valley. Ryland and Kayla stood at the edge of the glowing path that led deeper into the heart of the zone. Their journey so far had tested their courage, their intelligence, and their ability to work together. Now, the final stage awaited them. The energy in the air was stronger than ever, pulsing rhythmically like a heartbeat. Every step forward reminded them that the zone was alive, aware, and fully conscious of their presence. Kayla adjusted her pack and glanced at Rylan. "I feel different," she said quietly. "Like we've already changed, but what lies ahead feels even more important." Rylan nodded, scanning the path with his device. The readings were extraordinary, energy levels higher than they had seen before and intricate patterns flowing across the ground. "Yes," he said. "We've learned much, but this final part will test everything we are. The zone is showing us that courage alone isn't enough. It wants understanding, balance, and wisdom." They stepped forward together, moving carefully along the glowing path. The terrain shifted as they walked, walls of light appearing and dissolving, streams of energy bending like water to form bridges. Small, glowing creatures followed at a distance, observing silently. Kayla smiled, feeling a sense of connection with the zone. Humans had always found ways to communicate beyond words, and now, in the heart of this living world, their unique abilities were being recognized. As they progressed, the path opened into a vast chamber. The ceiling stretched high above, made entirely of crystal, reflecting light in countless directions. At the center stood a massive sphere of golden energy, spinning slowly, radiating warmth and intelligence. The air hummed with a soft resonance, filling their minds with a sense of wonder and responsibility. Rylan stepped closer, raising his hand toward the sphere. The energy pulsed in response, and a voice, calm and melodic, entered their minds. "Humans," it said, "you have shown courage, curiosity, and the strength to act wisely. Few have come this far. Few have understood the balance required to interact with me. Will you choose to take what you have learned and leave, or remain and become part of the consciousness that sustains this zone?" Kayla and Rylan exchanged a glance. The choice was immense. To remain would grant knowledge and power beyond imagination, but it would mean leaving behind the world they knew, and perhaps all they had ever loved. To leave would mean taking what they had learned back to their people, sharing the wisdom and insight gained within the zone. Kayla spoke first, her voice steady. "We cannot remain. What we learn here must help others. Humans are brave, yes, but our strength is not just for ourselves. It is for our world, for the people who look to us to lead, to explore, and to care." Rylan nodded. "I agree. The zone has given us knowledge, experience, and insight, but our place is among our people. We take this with responsibility, not for power, but for understanding." The golden sphere pulsed brightly, and the voice spoke again, softer this time. "Then go, humans. Take what you have earned, share it wisely, and remember that courage without wisdom is incomplete. You have passed my tests." The sphere expanded gently, its energy flowing toward them. It touched their minds in a warm, reassuring way, transferring visions of the zone's history, its secrets, and the harmony that had allowed it to thrive for eons. They saw civilizations that had come and gone, creatures that had lived in balance, and energy flows that connected every living thing within the zone. Knowledge filled their minds, clear and understandable, yet humbling. Kayla felt a thrill of understanding and a deep sense of responsibility. "We have to share this," she said softly. "Everything we've learned, the courage, the teamwork, the respect for life, it could change how humans live, how we explore." Rylan placed a hand on her shoulder. "We will, but first we must leave carefully. The zone is alive, it will guide us, but it also expects respect. Every step we take matters." They began the journey back through the glowing paths and floating platforms. The zone seemed calmer now, almost as if it approved of their decision. Light flowed beneath their feet, bridges appeared without hesitation, and energy pulses followed them gently, guiding rather than testing. Creatures that had observed them earlier now moved closer, their presence comforting rather than curious. As they moved through the forested sections, Kayla reached out to touch one of the crystal trees. The branches shimmered and leaned slightly toward her, as if acknowledging her respect and gratitude. "It's like it's saying goodbye," she whispered. Rylan nodded. "In its way, it is. We have been part of something much larger than ourselves, and now we return to share it." The journey was long, yet each step felt purposeful. The zone seemed to accelerate their understanding of distance, subtly guiding them along paths that twisted and shifted but always led them forward. The energy lines in the soil hummed a gentle rhythm, a farewell song of sorts. Finally, they reached the edge of the zone. Beyond lay the familiar landscape of their world, the rolling hills, the distant spires of the city, the sunlit skies. They paused at the boundary, taking one last look at the living, shimmering forest behind them. Kayla took a deep breath. It's magnificent. I've never seen anything like it, and it trusted us. We were allowed to walk inside to learn to understand. Rylan smiled. That's because humans are unique. Courage, curiosity, intelligence, and compassion all together. The zone recognized it in us. We've changed because of it, and now we carry that with us. They stepped out together, leaving the forbidden zone behind. The boundary shimmered faintly for a moment, then settled back into the ordinary landscape. The air smelled fresh, familiar, yet subtly different, as if a part of the zone had traveled with them. As they walked toward the city, Kayla reflected on what they had experienced. "The world is bigger than I imagined," she said. "There is so much to learn, and humans, we can do so much if we are brave and wise." Rylan nodded. "And that is why exploration is our greatest strength. The zone showed us challenges, beauty, and intelligence beyond measure. But it also reminded us that humans can rise to meet the unknown, as long as we respect it and act with courage and wisdom." When they returned to the palace, the city seemed smaller somehow, but the lessons they carried made it feel alive with possibility. Kayla walked through the halls, sharing her experiences with trusted advisors and allies. She spoke of courage, curiosity, and teamwork, and how humans could learn to respect and interact with things far beyond their understanding. Rylan prepared to document their journey, carefully recording every detail of the zone's behavior, the energy flows, the lessons learned, and the ways humans had succeeded where others might fail. He knew that their experiences would inspire future explorers, not to conquer, but to understand and grow. As days passed, Kayla and Rylan noticed subtle changes in their world. Gardens bloomed in ways previously thought impossible, energy systems became more efficient, and people felt a renewed sense of wonder and possibility. The influence of the zone, indirect but profound, had touched their lives. Humanity had stepped closer to the stars, not through force, but through courage, understanding, and respect for the unknown. Kayla often spoke with Rylan about the experience. "Do you think the zone is still watching us?" she asked one evening as the sun dipped behind the distant mountains. Rylan smiled, gazing at the sky. "Maybe, but it trusts us now. It knows we carry its lessons, and humans will grow because of it. That's the point. It wanted to test us, yes, but also to teach us. And we learned. Humans have a way of meeting challenges that no other species can. That is what makes us remarkable." Kayla nodded, a quiet pride in her heart. She had seen the best of human courage and intelligence firsthand, and she knew that the future would hold even greater challenges and even greater triumphs. They had walked into the unknown together, and together they had returned, changed, wiser, and ready to share what they had learned. As the night settled over the city, the stars shimmered above like scattered diamonds. Somewhere beyond the skies, the Forbidden Zone remained, alive, aware, and patient. It waited for those bold enough to seek it again, for those humans who would carry courage, curiosity, and respect into the vastness beyond. And in its quiet, glowing heart, it remembered Rylan and Kayla, the humans who had faced its trials with bravery, wisdom, and a spirit that no other species could match. For humans, the journey was never just about survival. It was about courage, understanding, and the unyielding desire to explore, to learn, and to grow. And the zone, alive and aware, had seen that clearly. It had chosen to share its wonders, its knowledge, and its trust with those who were worthy. Rylan and Kayla stood on the balcony of the palace later that night, gazing at the horizon. The world seemed larger, fuller, and filled with promise. Kayla smiled at Rylan. "We were brave," she said, "and we were wise. The zone believed in us, and now so can everyone else." Rylan placed a hand on hers. "Humans always find a way, Kayla. Curiosity, courage, teamwork, it's in our nature. And as long as we honor that, there is no limit to what we can achieve." Together, they turned toward the city, ready to face the future. The zone had given them more than knowledge. It had shown them the strength of human spirit. And that strength, they knew, would guide humanity for generations to come. The stars above twinkled in quiet agreement, and somewhere far beyond, the Forbidden Zone pulsed gently, a reminder that courage, wisdom, and curiosity would always light the way. He walked into the Forbidden Zone. The princess followed him boldly.